What's good? So I wanted to talk about my son. He's hyped up right now. Just to give you a heads up, he keeps yelling. He's goofing off with his friends, so let you know that will happen in advance, possibly. But I want to talk about today on this recording about how it seemed like it just at times, like, I don't know why it's a unique impression I got just a moment ago where the impression I got. I know we already talk about this. I know we already talk about this kind of stuff, like in a sense, but for some reason, the impression I got was that it was not real, right? That some people just aren't real. I think like Matt from Quantum of Conscience kind of talks about that too, and some people might get offended if you say that some people aren't real, right? But if we're going with this idea that everything's kind of like a simulated reality, then it puts all these weird characters that just don't make sense, or they are like the reality. I don't know how to explain this. Kind of like rub stuff in your face, if that makes sense. So I have a relative, for example, if you don't know already, that was internet famous, right? And for years, I was always like in the family. I was like always the smart one and the one that had all the talent and you know and stuff, like the more level-headed one, right? So when my brother became internet famous, let's backtrack. He knew. See, he was never functional. He never worked, but what did he always see me doing? Working, in shape, not morbidly obese, uh, like him. And I had potential to arrive to a level in his mind. Anyway, that's the way he perceived it, right? In his mind, he perceived me in a certain light, um, like that I was functional, and dysfunctional people hate functional people. And so when dysfunctional people see functional people on the path to becoming something, improving themselves, they despise that, and they have disdain for that. They have envy and jealousy for that. So you got to think, I was always working, and I was dating girls, at times, or seeing girls rather. And so my brother, he was always, morbidly obese, didn't work, couldn't keep a job, and he cares about what people think. He cares about social status and being relevant and impressing everybody and stuff, whereas I never did, right? And so I was always, working and stuff and having part-time jobs, and what kept me in poverty and in a chronic, loop of not being able to get ahead was the fact that, shortly after my son was born, my legal troubles in family courts and with his mom began. So that kept me in a state of chronic poverty because that's where all my money went, right? And I'm not the only one. There are tons of people out there that go through the system, and when you go through that system, I know I'm going off on several topics here. I'm going off on several topics here, but there are people that once they get into that system, there are powers that be and people and all kinds of, you know, they're preying on the people that get funneled through the system. The system itself preys on the people. Attorneys prey on the people, which they're part of the system. And then you got, organizations that start up and advocates and people trying to promote services, pretty much trying to take advantage of people that are going through a hardship or a hard time, that are going through the family court system, or the Title 40, what they call child support system, if you want to call it that. And so there are vultures. There are people along the way that are trying to like take advantage of you, financially and stuff like that. So a lot of people, men and women, go through that system and they just get screwed over. Especially the eccentric types. And those are the ones that will voice their, you know, their struggle most online. If you go on the internet and you see all these people talking about, oh yeah, I went through the system, or I'm in the system, or this or that, a lot of the time, if you just kind of like read their language, body language and stuff, then you will kind of get this perception that they are eccentric. If you think about it, most of the time you're not going to think about it. You're just going to be like, whoa, that's this person, he's like out there, he's, some people would call them crazy or weird, or they're just angry that it didn't work out for them, and you know, the judge ruled and the court ruled and that they do this and do that and pay child support and that, and they're just unhappy, and so therefore they're unhinged. No, it's just eccentric people that are most likely and more likely to express themselves on social media, in my opinion. Now, them or the people that are the, how would you say, the these are the ones that stand out the most, the eccentric ones, or the actual abusers themselves that are the people with personality disorders, and then they'll make profiles and they'll try to make the other person the villain and stuff. So you see a lot of those on the internet, but a lot of the normal people will kind of lay low, and you don't hear about their cases a lot. And I'd be willing to bet that all the normal people that are getting funneled through the system are the ones who are you don't hear about those cases. So this gives the illusion and the optics that the system does run good and it runs like it should and normal, and there's just a bunch of unhappy people who are upset at how things turned out in their situation, and they're mad and they're on the internet talking about it. So that was the predominant reason why I never advanced financially. And you guys are going to join me as I clean up after dinner here. I kind of got a little mess going on. So yeah, that's the only reason why I did not succeed, you know, and get ahead financially for the most part, because of that, you know, and a lot of people go through that. So saying that should be just as rational as saying, oh, well, I was driving down the road and my there was a nail in the road. I didn't see it, and suddenly I realized my tire was slowly going flat. And then next thing you know, you're on the side of the road. So if I were to call you up and say, hey, I got a flat tire, I'm on the side of the road, it sucks, but I got to change my tire, you wouldn't come at me and say, oh, you're nuts, you're crazy, what are you talking about? Man, you're just making excuses. Like, you got a flat tire. Well, it's your own fault. Well, oh yeah, it's not your fault. Then okay, you're putting blame on the nail. Like, oh, you know, why did you even go out and drive today? See, if you wouldn't have been driving, you wouldn't have got the nail. So that's on you, pal. Like, if you would have just stayed at home instead of driving, it's your fault. Take some responsibility. And all I'm doing is just telling you, hey, this is the predicament I'm in. And it sucks, but, you know, you don't come at me and say, well, change your tire then. Don't complain about it. Change your tire, as if I need someone to tell me to change my tire. In fact, I even just told you I'm changing my tire. I don't need people coming at me telling me, well, if you got a problem, if you got a flat tire, then and a nail in it, you just need to change your tire. Well, that's the way people talk to you if you're in a family court situation. It's just a little bit bigger of a it's a bit of a bigger circumstance to be in. And so that's the way people should approach it. They should be like, oh, that's a problem you're having, and you are in the process of resolving it. So when you talk about it, people just automatically assume that you are in the problem because you chose it, and because and they automatically by default assume you're not doing anything about it. So if somebody comes at you saying, hey, I'm going through this BS with the family court or the Title 4D child support system, which most people don't call it that because they don't know how it works, and they're being deceived by the government and all the agencies and stuff. Anyways, won't go into that, but my main point is if somebody tells you that, don't take them as like some kind of Looney Tune, or that they're just upset it didn't work out for them the way they wanted. There's some real corruption. Anyways, so going on in that system. Anyways, so what I'm getting at is, I'm trying to say is, that's the reason why I remained in the struggle and still suffer residual, side effects of having gone through that today, because of having been, shoved through that system. So my point is you got to think, my relative, my brother, he's this whole time, he's always been in poverty. He's in poverty. I'm in poverty. But, you got to think, he's morbidly obese. He doesn't work. He sees everybody else around him having houses, eventually getting homes, eventually getting cars, eventually having all this nice stuff, eventually accruing status and perceived social relevance and status. And he's like, he knows that he's big and fat, and he's a nobody relative to what society deems as normal. And see, he cares about that. So his way of dealing with that is to act like he doesn't care, pretend like he doesn't care, make people laugh, crack a joke, here and there, and to attempt to deflect. But in reality, he really wants to fit in. He really wants to be part of the crowd. He wants to be normal. He looks around and he's envious and jealous of everybody. And so, since he and I come from the same socioeconomic background, he, unbeknownst to me, has this, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, my analysis of his psychology, anyways, is what I'm trying to say. And I believe it's accurate based on how he acts. I believe it's accurate based on how he acts and stuff. So, so he's sitting there seeing me working these jobs, and while he didn't see me with a lot of the girls I was with, in fact, I don't think he's seen me with any of the girls I've ever was talking to or seeing, but he knew about them. I didn't go around bragging about it, but it would come up in conversation or whatnot. I even taught him how to approach a girl one time in the bookstore, and he got her number, and he had never done anything like that before, and I just told him what to do, how to do it, and so anyways, you got to understand the psychological dynamic here. I know I'm repeating myself. Bear with me. Appreciate it. He sees that I have the potential of becoming something, right? In comparison. And people like him, as long as you're down at their level or lower than them, then that's okay. He's all right. He doesn't feel threatened. But, back in the day, during that time, I always seen the internet becoming a thing where it was going to change everything. And this was before becoming an influencer was even a thing, right? And you could see that the internet was becoming a thing. I had a YouTube channel. I made a video, and I always talked about how, it'd be fun to make videos. Now, listen to my words here. I'm talking about how it would be fun to be creative and make funny videos and do stuff. But I never aspired to want to be someone that gets on the internet, makes videos, what we would now call an influencer. I never wanted that. The only thing I wanted to do was to be a full-time artist, right? or have my own business at least, right? To work for myself, and have freedom basically, and which means translates also into me having the freedom to be who I want, to live the lifestyle I want, to have, be able to do art, and to get involved in the arts scene and stuff like that. So that's what I always wanted. So what I did is I had a YouTube channel, and I made this video, and I made this redneck rap video is what I called it. And let me tell you who called me. Tosh.0 called me. I took that video down, by the way. I need to access that account and bring it back up. Not that it was anything great, not that it was anything like, but back then though, it was unique because it was an edited video, and it had me and my brother on there, doing just a stupid rap, and it got 30,000 views, right? And I thought that was pretty wild. It didn't go viral, but in a short amount of time, it did end up getting 30,000 views, right? And so he and I are on there, and we're rapping and being silly, and I didn't think of it beyond that. Like, and I was going to make this program that helps artists market themselves, blah, blah, blah. But unbeknownst to me at the time, in his head, in my opinion, he's envious and jealous of everybody else, and he wants to be relevant because he is literally a nobody. But a nobody relative to what is deemed as popular, normal, again. For me, though, like, I really don't care about what people think. I really, really, super, really do not give one single F about what people think. So, like I said, I had my goals in mind, and I was going to work hard to achieve my goals. I was under the impression that if I just clocked in every day and I work really hard, eventually I'll make enough money to where I can, get past all the troubles, and I'll come out on top, and I'll keep working hard, and then I'll get paid a salary that will lift me up out of poverty. I just got to show the employer that I am willing to come to work on time. I'm willing to get the job done, and I believe that. So that's what I did. And so anytime my brother see me, I was working. So unbeknownst to me, there was an unspoken sibling rivalry, right? That I was unaware of. You understand what I'm saying? You ever meet somebody that puts on a front like they like you, or that they're cool with you, but in reality they're low key, like behind the scenes, they're actually like don't like you, or they're jealous, or and you end up finding out that they don't like you. Well, I think now, I don't think my brother sat there and stewed about me like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he like sat there and was like, oh, someday I'm going to rise above that ability to my brother. I'm going to be better than him. Like, but I do believe that generally he just was always envious of everybody else because they were motivated. They had things that, and so he tried to align with different people socially that had those things, except he always was wanting the quick fix. He tried to become friends with people that had money, or people that, but he would also try to align himself with people that he learned over time. He learned how to get things from people, how to end up to where, kind of make them laugh enough to where they think of him as this really cool guy, and it's just funny, just a kind-hearted guy, and he was trying to hustle and make the quick fix way into life. So, but also he's uneducated and literally doesn't really generally know how reality works. He's a lazy person. He's a person with no ambition. He's not trying to get ahead. He's just just living in the moment and looking for some kind of angle, some kind of hack to jump up to the status level of what he perceives to be socially relevant. So that's what his aim is, because he does the whole, he smokes weed like everybody else. He tries it out. He follows the crowd. He didn't become like a regular cigarette smoker, but if he thought it would make him look cool to people, he would smoke. One time, this girl he liked came over, and he was trying to, in my opinion, get with her, and he was like into her, but she wasn't into him. But she was over there, and she wanted to smoke a cigarette, so he smoked a cigarette with her, because, just one of those people that just follows the crowd, does whatever's going to make him feel relevant or make somebody impressed or try to get the girl to like him or whatever. That's who he was. Oh man, everybody would all be in denial if they were watching this. Everybody I know, they'd be, oh no, what him? Like, no, see, and then they'd go on some low IQ spiel about how, he's his own person. Such morons, such stupid people. And even though he spent the last 8.5 years failing after going viral and becoming famous, and now he's a broke failure, there are still people who are still hanging on to hope and supporting him in hopes that he really will end up succeeding, so that they don't look like morons, because I've already called everybody out at this point. So if you discriminate against him or talk bad against him, and you don't even have to talk bad, you can just tell the truth about what he's actually done, and not how everybody wants to project him out to be. Like, people want to hold on to it because they want to be able to they don't want to look stupid in the end. So they're holding on to hope that he will somehow, regain his initial fame and I can't even call it prestige. I don't know what word to use. Clout. Like I said it that way because, and I do the like that because clout was a normal word, right? But then, here's the way I perceive it. Then, one day, a rapper used the word. And then so all the stupid people started learning vocabulary. And clout sounded like a cool word. Oh, what's it mean? Oh, so it's weird because it's a word that naturally is a normal word. But in the context of how they use it as if it were a slang word, if that makes sense. So it's the weirdest thing. It's a word that was not invented, or nobody just like came up with it as a slang word. They use the actual word, but people say it as if it's a slang word. Like that's just like saying, like the word because. Let's just say that all the stupid people, like, they started using the word because. You see, because, like, it's like, because, like, if you want to explain something as to, like, why it happened the way it did, it's the word because. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm trying to say? So, like, for example, like, let's say that you made a bowl of oatmeal, and I said, why did you make the bowl of oatmeal? And you say, because I was hungry. Oh, yeah, word. Oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, because. Oh, I'm going to start using that word because. And I'm going to explain that to everybody anytime I do something. I'm going to start using the word because, so that way I sound intelligent. And because, I just did it. Oh, my God. Oh, shit. Oh, man. So people started using the word clout So clout, even though they're using the actual definition of the actual word within the context that they're using it, oh man, they just want clout. They're using it as if it were a slang word when it is already a word. It's so stupid. So anytime you hear from now moving forth, you hear like somebody go, oh man, they just want clout. Like, you're going to think of me. You're going to remember like what I was saying. Like they use it like a slang word. It's like, so instead of saying, oh, you just want to look cool, they learned the word clout finally because they were too illiterate. And then they learned the word clout, and it makes them feel like cool, makes them feel intelligent that they learned the word clout. And then now they use it because it makes them feel intelligent, right? But then it started being so used that it just became like contextually like a slang word. It's so retarded. So weird, man. I didn't think about the water being in the sound being in the video. My bad. So, but anyways, so getting to the point, you see my relative, he wants to fit in, and so he's desperate. Everything he's done, you could sit there and point to everything that he's done throughout his entire life, and it's him trying to fit in. It's him looking for hacks. So when he goes viral overnight one day, makes a random video and it just accidentally goes viral, well, that finally a hack happened. Like, he was always looking for the quick fix, always looking for a hack. But you got to think, if you sit there all of your life and you're 28 or 29 and you've never done a thing in your life but sit around and just pull the slot machine of hacks, constantly trying to find a hack, like, it's almost like the probability of that happening is likely if you are not working, right? Like, if you just sit there all day for the most part and don't do anything and you keep trying hacks, like, the law of probability would conclude, not that it's a law, but you know what I'm saying, but probability would deduce that eventually you might get lucky. So that's what happened in his case. And there's a lot of people that can't kind of comprehend even what I just said because it's like intelligent thinking, right? And so they can't conceptualize what I just said. So in their minds, what I said is just now was just something incomprehensible and kind of stupid. In their mind, they like, what is he talking about? What is he talking about? He just saying these big words, and I don't understand the big words. But anyways, he just became famous because he's smart, and he must have figured out something. I tell you, like, pause the video and go look up White House scene Idiocracy. It's literally like talking to those people. Like, I'm not even exaggerating when I say literally like talking to those people. It's literally like talking to those people from that scene in Idiocracy. So it's literally that. And so by me talking about it in the way that I do, in their eyes, I'm just jealous. I'm just a jealous person, right? Because Idiocracy scene, right? From the movie, White House scene. That's exactly what's going on. So it's almost fruitless for me to even try to talk to them about this because they're too inept and too stupid to comprehend what I'm saying. Like, so when I say they can't comprehend what I'm saying, it's like, that's literally what I'm saying is they can't comprehend it. Anyways, right. Those aren't ticks. Those is me just slightly exaggerating. Like, it's so stupid simple. It's like, you morons. So if I say anything about it, their only interpretation is, oh, well, you must be just jealous. You're just jealous. He got famous. He figured something out. Oh. So inept. Such inept morons. So, anyways. So, you got to think. So, he's sitting there envious. And so when he seen that video that one time going 30,000, and then he becomes famous overnight, his whole energy shifts, his whole dynamic, and now he's walking tall and proud, like, I made it, I did it, and so that's when this aura came over him, this smugness that he started to have, like I finally did it. And everybody, this is insane, man. This is just like, my life is just like from the movie Idiocracy. Everybody's like, man, you finally made it, man. Man, you made it. As if he had these, like in the stories and the movies. All this comes from movies too. Their mentality comes from, and their perceptions stem from watching movies, from seeing it in the movies all these years, right? Everybody. So everybody's like, I remember this, he unfriended me, this other dude unfriended me, so I will talk about him, right? So he unfriended me, which is fine, but, so I remember seeing him comment on my brother's post about like, man, you finally made it, man, but now I just need my day, because he was a comedian, right? And he was like, yeah, I just need my day to happen now. So they all think that it happens overnight because they've been watching Wayne's World. Mr. Big's going to ride up in the limousine. So all these people, they think that there's this like day that everything's going to work out. Like it's all going to all of a sudden their new song. I mean, I even literally seen this today. There's these people, and like my brother, that's what he wanted to do too. Like they want to be rappers. They're not trying to be artists. They're trying to be. They're not trying to be like legit artists. They're trying to be rappers so that they can get famous and be loved and known and worshipped. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that. They're looking for the fame. And then so what they do is, and I literally seen this today, this kid that he's trying to be a rapper too. He's trying to make music. Then my girl in the club, and the girl, and you my love, and the girl, and the town. Oh, and babe, yeah. And then and I repeat this over and over again because they all do the same thing. Man, my music's about to pop off. It's about to blow up. That's what I seen today. This kid. And I hate talking because I'm not trying to talk crap about this dude. He's a younger guy and he's actually a decent dude, okay? But he just doesn't know how things work. But he thinks that his music's going to blow up, right? Well, who are you to say that his music's not going to blow up? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know his music's not going to take off or blow up? Because they all say the same shit. They're not trying to look at it from a business angle. They're trying to look at it from a movies angle that they've been watching. And then what they'll do is they'll see like a documentary of their favorite rapper or artist, or they'll watch 8 Mile, and they'll be like, oh yeah, this is the way it happened with Eminem. And then someday, they're going to see me and I'm going to blow up too. They're not, they live in a fantasy reality on how things work. And so they don't look at it from a business angle. They don't look at it like, I need to make my brand and create a business system around it and go out there, perform, do shows, market it, form bonds with my community of supporters, create a system to where I can keep in touch with them and talk with them one-on-one. Like if you're a small artist, you want to reach out to your fans personally, and send them letters and send them messages, send them all kinds of stuff, and interact with them one-on-one. You want to really create a real support system, but none of them will do that. You know why? You know why they're not going to do that? Because their song's going to pop off. Their music's about to blow up, and everybody's going to, oh man, all the confetti's going to fall down. Champagne bottles are going to pop. Mr. Big in his suit's going to come in and be like, with his cigar, he's going to be like, the world is about to see you on every television and hear you on every radio in the country. And that's where you're headed. And then everybody comes Everybody's celebrating them. That's the way they think it's going to work out. So that's the way. So when my brother went viral, that's the way everybody thought, and so he was just like that, right? So this gave everybody the immediate illusion, just like that dude that went viral because he lit up a cigarette. All it took was him to light up a cigarette and go viral. And then everybody's like, praise, oh, he's so real and he's so legit. Oh my God, he's got so much wisdom. Like, he's going to quit smoking. And he made a video about it. And then he goes viral just because he says, oh yeah, I'm a loser and I'm going to quit smoking. And everybody's like, whoa. Like, oh my God, he smokes and he's a loser and he's going to quit smoking and get a job. Oh my God. I'm so inspired. You have such deep wisdom, man. Oh my God, you finally realized, and you like that cigarette. You're such a wise person. I'm going to support you no matter what. I'm with you in this all the way, man. Just because you lit up a cigarette and said you're going to get a job. Oh my God. That's the way humans are. I know it sounds crazy to us smart people. It sounds legitimately like the most insane thing you've ever heard. But it's actually real. Humans will do that, right? So what I'm saying is my brother was right there in the same lineup with all those morons who think their new song's going to pop off and they're going to be famous, and it's going to pop off. And if they were to hear me talking right now, they would get offended. They would knee-jerk react like, who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? And then they'd be like, you're not talking about so-and-so, are you? Well, I'm literally talking about every one of them. It sounds like I'm specifically talking about someone specific because they're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. So you think, though, that I'm specifically, and I might actually be talking about a specific person because they all do the same thing. So I'm talking about them and all of them. And so my point is my brother never had an ambition to be a rapper. He was just another one of those people that just like to talk about it and he was hoping that his new song was going to pop off and he'd be a famous rapper. So he wanted to be a famous rapper, right? And he thought his music was going to pop off if he just goes to the studio. You'll hear him talk about that too. Oh, I just got to get in the studio. Once I get this recording done, it's going to pop. Oh, man. Once it gets recorded, oh. It's going to pop off. I just got to get it recorded. Then, oh, man. Everybody's going to hear that song. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some songs that do pop off based on the merit of the song itself. But the statistical probability of that is slim. So basically, most likely, that's not going to happen with most people. So you can't bet on that. You can't be looking to try to make that happen because you need to be focused on building a business out of your artist brand and then let one of your songs pop off organically if it does, right? But everybody's focused on that and with the hopes that that's going to happen to them. So just through a fluke moment where somebody goes viral, automatically everybody interpreted it as, oh, he got his big day. They started treating him as if all this time he had been on this mission to become this famous person and that he finally made it after all these years. Like the band REM started I think in 1981, I think. It was in the early 80s. And I think it took them 12 years before they became famous, in the early 90s. I think it took REM 12 years. The REM, you know who I'm talking about? This one goes out to the one I love. This one goes out to the one I left behind. And it starts with a hurricane. Leonard Bordenstein and some airplanes. I'm not afraid. I don't remember how the words go. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. So it took them 12 years before they became famous. So they got better at their craft along the way, created a solid fan base, and they just, what did they do? What did they do? They stayed consistent. They just kept performing and kept improving their skill. They kept moving forward along the way. And so what looked and appeared like something popped off was actually just years of intensive labor in building your presence and building an audience. So that's how they did it. That's how they were able to do that, because they built the audience. They built their, their brand up. They had a business system in place. And so it wasn't like the movies. Now, Mr. Big didn't walk in. So it took them that long to do that. But everybody's trying to be famous instead of they're looking for the quick fix, instant gratification tricks. They're sitting on the couch looking up pics of chicks with dicks to get their kicks. I'm sitting on the couch with chicks watching Netflix. You know what I'm saying? And those are my lyrics. You know why? Because I'm just chilling. I'm the demon core sorcerer to my enemies, psychological torturer. Light the torch, magic wand, scorched earth, and watch them burn. You know what I'm saying? So those are my lyrics. All right. So anyways, what was I saying? Well, here's my rap. This world's become a clown show. Where did all the good go? Seems it's hit a new low. Things that I don't want to know. Plant the seed so new realities begin to grow. Magic into the new villain. The demon core sorcerer to my enemies. Psychological torturer. Light the torch. Magic wand. Scorched earth. Watch them burn. Tragic. They think they got the upper hand. They're the pussy, I'm the man. Built their castles with sand. I'm building up my master plan. All their lyrics dull and bland. Cause my spells let them land. The pink elephants done fell off the cliff. Done lost its wings. Done lost its lift. No more strength or means to continue the grift. It's over. Look what you've gone and done. Fucked with the chosen one. I hope you had a good run. What did you think it would last? You're just a joke from the past. I hope you really had fun. Well, they're looking for the quick fix, instant gratification tricks. They're sitting on the couch looking up pics of chicks with dicks to get their kicks. I'm sitting on the couch with chicks watching Netflix. Cause I'm just chilling, the demon core sorcerer, enigmatic magical consciousness explorer, General Sal chicken on my Chinese order. Their tacticals, they call me weird. I was everything they feared. And I forget, I'm practicing it. That's about it. That's all I'm gonna do on that. But that's my song that I've been working on. And I haven't worked on it for about a month. Just got too tied up into stuff. But, so, what was I saying? So if anybody steals those lyrics, those are my lyrics. Copyright 2025. Got them written down and posted somewhere. So there's proof that I made up those lyrics. And so I ain't gonna go into that, but it's funny, a lot of these morons that at the risk of sounding conceited or whatnot, I'm even better at rap than them. You know what I'm saying? I'm even better at that. Here's the problem. A lot of the people that have come after me or my enemies over the years, I am better than them at most things. Sure, everybody's got their specific talents and the things that they're good at. You know, there's tons of things that I'm not as good at as somebody else. And we can all make that statement unilaterally. We can all agree that everybody's got their own specific strengths and weaknesses and things that they're good at, they excel at, or things that they're not so good at. So that's just reality. That's just life, right? But in the instance of the people that have either attacked me or have attempted to make me look bad, or or what have you, whatever the case. In all With all the people that I know, even though I might not flex it and they don't know anything about it, like for example, I'm way better at rap than my brother. So the problem with that circumstance is I'm better than him. I am better than him at that. And so that's when people would come in and argue and say, well, then how come you're not famous? You missing the whole fucking point, you dumb fuck. Because you don't go viral because you did something because you had talent like that. You go viral because virality is something that happens organically at the right place and at the right time. Each moment of virality, you can pinpoint after the fact. You pinpoint the things that happened after the fact, and you can see the source of how the thing became viral after the fact, because virality is a byproduct of different elements that are in one place at one time on the right day at the right moment. So there is no formula. It's just literally you got to be at the right place at the right time at the right moment. You can have the most awesome song in the world, but if the temperatures, or let's say you got the most awesome music in the world, like a lot of people love your music and they can't understand why you're not famous, but you've got the best, songs, right? Well, and you got a following, right? Well, that's because it hasn't gotten out to as many people, perhaps possibly due to. Anyways, here's my point. There are a lot of awesome songs that should be famous, but they're not. They're not. There are a lot of independent factors that make things go viral, right? Like, you take a really hot blonde with big boobs and a nice ass, and she posts a picture of a stick figure, and then you got and she gets 6 million views, right? And she says, I'm an artist. And then she's got a stick figure. And then you got this real artist who paints a lifelike image of Jesus. And it took him 3 months to paint. And his picture doesn't go viral. Well, what are the reasons why that girl goes viral and he doesn't? Well, it's because she's attractive. She's hot. She's got big boobs. And there's a juxtaposition of her doing a stick figure in order to get people to think, man, that's not art, and get people talking about it. But my main point is, when things go viral, it's not because of someone's, like they figured out this strategy, or formula. If that were the case, all my brother would have to do is to create another viral video using the formula and making another Facebook page, and then he could own all of the revenue coming from his page instead of the production company, right? That's all he'd have to do. He'd have to just make another page. But if I would be willing to bet the reason why he's always broke and has no money is because his page no longer is owned by him, and he stupidly signed it over to a production company, is my opinion. Because how can you have 1.2 million followers, yet you are still on your mama's couch? How's that math up? That's because other people own your page because you stupidly gave it away, you dumb idiot. That's why. Because you signed. Who in the hell, who in their right mind would sign with a production company? So if going viral was a formula and people knew it, and it was like if it was like a thing that you could just do, and there's like a certain formula for it, then tons of people would have figured out that formula and just done it, right? Everybody would have. Don't lie. If you could go viral today and it puts you in a position to where you can make money enough to quit your job, every single body would, unless they love their job. Most 99% of people would, at least 97% of people would quit their job, right? In order to make money and be free and make money online. So, is my main point. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. So, anyways, right. So, there is no formula, and, but what was I saying? I forget my point, but, so, anyways, so like I said, I didn't think nothing of my 30,000 view video like that. Like that wasn't my goal. But I did remember like exploring with the idea, like if I ever did become popular and get a lot of views and became popular, I was definitely going to take advantage of that. So after he went viral, he started acting smug and started talking and behaving in such a way that assumes, you know how you assume the sale in sales? Well, he would act smug and talk in such a way that assumed that there had always been this competition with us. And that, see, he finally made it. He figured it out, and you were too stupid. So now he can, now I'm outdone, basically, is the energy that he's giving off. It's like, you're outdone now. Look at me, I got famous. And you're still having baby mama drama and working all your jobs. That was the energy he puts out whenever he went viral. He started putting out that kind of energy, but I saw right through it. I seen that his virality was just a short-term, quick fix thing. I seen that in the beginning, and but nobody else did. You know, everybody just thinks, "Oh, you're so famous," and so that's why people would go on like that one comedian guy that unfriended me on Facebook. He was telling my brother, "Oh man, you made it, dog. Man, I just got to get up there and do my thing now and get up there next with you." But my brother never did that. He was never like someone that like pursued his passion. He was just always dabbling in things. But the virality and the overnight fame just makes people's brains, it's like a switch in their brain. They just, all their critical thinking skills goes out the door, and then they're just like, "Oh, you're famous, you made it, man, oh, congratulations, you pursued your dream," when that's not even what happened. The virality was accident. Okay, so people like him, you might even argue that people like him are made up and they're not real. I do think he's somewhat of an NPC though. But anyways, so that kind of defeats my point, because I know him personally, and if we did not know him, if I did not know him personally and we were talking about it, I would probably assume that he was also one of the not real people. In other words, like I would probably conclude that he is I would probably deduce that he was not real and the reality just made him up, right? And that he's not actual a real person, right? That he's just this. Anyways, I forgot. I went into that whole thing with this video trying to, now that it's been about an hour since I started the video, I done forgot how I was attempting to tie that into my point, which the main point of my video was like, I was seeing this clip of Theo Vaughn. Y'all heard that, right? Sounded like a crackling bottle. Sounded like this. But I wasn't holding a bottle. Oh, it's the one I threw in the trash. My bad. Had to get my kitchen straightened up. So, anyways, so I was seeing a clip of Theo Vaughn, and this guy named Billy Strings, uh, which is kind of a meta reflection for me personally, because years ago when I was like 18, I thought I wanted to be a musician, a full-time musician, and I had some guitars. I had an acoustic and an electric at one point, but first I had an acoustic, and I always thought bluegrass was great, and I had this ideal of wholesomeness and good old Southern wholesomeness, Southern charm, Southern life kind of deal. Church going, don't use drugs, non-violent, good, clean, down home living, just good old people, back porch sitting, sweet tea, biscuits, and apple pie, and grandma, and Jesus, and all that stuff. Like I was under that. And so, so when I see Billy Strings, like, at first I seen him like as a normal, like, bluegrass type of thing, and so the reality kind of like mimics. It does like this meta reflection and kind of like perverts or distorts the ideals that you have. So he's like a meta reflection of me, like where I did become a full-time musician, except that equal opposite reflection is the thing that I did not get to experience. I never got to experience the down home Southern culture, wholesome. I never got to experience that kind of community, that kind of lifestyle that I was aiming for at one point when I was really younger. Never got to experience it. So the reality projected out another version of it with my name, Billy, and his name is Billy Strings, his artist name, and so he plays the guitar. And so when I first saw him, he's all wholesome looking and stuff. And then over the years, as he became more popular and as weed became more popular, like I remember I seen a clip of him playing, and he's got the joint in his mouth, and while he's playing the guitar, he's sucking on the weed and blowing it out while he's playing the guitar. And this sends a signal to the masses everybody's like cheering, yeah, like, because now he's saying, I'm just like everybody else. I'm one with the crowd. I'm mainstream too. I'm just like everybody else. Because that's the weed smoking is the mainstream signal that signals to all the mainstreamers that we're unlike the rest. We're different. And Billy Strings is showing how he's so different. Yeah, he's different just like everybody else and all of us in the mainstream. What everybody does. So different, right? And that sends a signal when he was because he had to start with a wholesome image, or maybe he didn't have to, but he started with a wholesome image of just down home, short haircut, like he came from a Baptist church, playing bluegrass. There's that whole, but then, he shifted it up to where he smoked in front of everybody. And so everybody's like, yeah. And that just opened the door for his, fame to just excel, like extremely excel. Now, I will granted, I will acknowledge his talent. He does have real talent. So that is a contributor in this, with him. And he has superb talent. And he grew up with musicians and stuff. And so I listened to an interview with him before, but it's like made a reflection. It's a distorted version of what I idealized at one point. It's just reflecting back to me like that. And it's like, but the reality had to make it a distorted version. It couldn't have been just like a wholesome guy that was like really good at guitar. The reality had to make a guy that makes smoking weed as part of his brand now, right? And it's like it's a signal. Like everybody wants to believe that makes them different and unlike the rest, and and unlike the status quo and unlike the mainstream. When in fact, in actuality, it is exactly mainstream and the status quo, and it's a signal that he is part of that, and therefore he can relate and everybody can relate with him. He's one of them. He's one of everybody. And as if the weed, as if the beat playing and sucking on it and blowing it out is the thing that makes like everybody wants to feel like they're different and unlike the rest. And so they do these mainstream activities that everybody does that is just like the rest. So it gives them a safety net. It gives them a comfort zone because nobody wants to actually feel different or an outcast and be themselves. So they adhere to the things that have labels of rebellion, so that they can proclaim that they're different. So that's what they do, and that's why that hyper increases his popularity and makes him as famous as he did. And so the clip was Theo Von interviewing him, and he goes, "Oh, you're gonna play a song?" He's like, "Yeah." And so the whole song is glorifying cocaine, right? It's glorifying it, and it's like a good old Southern song. It's like, "Don't take my cocaine," like, "Don't talk bad about my cocaine," something like that, right? Like, "Don't knock the cocaine," or whatever. But it's in celebration of cocaine. Even though if he did an interview about it, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's a song about how it's just not like the great thing. It's a song about how people celebrate the things that aren't that great for you." But in reality, it's all in celebration of cocaine. And so the song's about that, and that's what everybody cheers. Hey, yeah, mainstream, because that's mainstream. Just the idea of it is mainstream. And so I started when I was looking at Theo Von, and I was like, why are they both popular? Like, what's the reality pushing? Like, most people aren't going to comprehend what I'm stating here because I'm talking at within a certain context, but like, it's almost like Theo Von is not real, right? And the reason why he's popular and got pushed out by the reality is because, not just because he has the mullet, but the mullet makes you think of 80s, but Theo Von has a certain face, a certain look also, aside from the mullet, that makes him appear like he makes you think 80s. He makes you, the way he looks and the way he talks and stuff, he kind of makes you think of the 80s. And so, and that's attached to this nostalgia thing that's so popular, right? And then Billy Strings is like iconic or a representation of mainstream. Both of those dudes are a representation of mainstream, but like the cocaine song and his whole brand is a distorted image of the wholesome, right? It's flipping everything, the whole wholesome ideal of good old Southern bluegrass, and so it has to taint everything. It has to like why couldn't I have seen like a reality or experienced a reality where he actually was just this wholesome, like, down home Southern dude who like did not do drugs? And oh, but Billy, that would be so lame. Okay, fuck you, mainstreamer. Keep following the herd, you sheep fuck. Right? So, anyways, I just think it's stupid, right? But this is me thinking it's stupid. Is, oh, you're just jealous. Oh, you're not cool. And you're judgmental. And all this stuff. No, it's objectively stupid. It's objectively stupid to glorify drugs and substances. That's what they want. They want everybody to derive a sense of or a feeling of to feel good by using substances, right? That's what they want. They want people to feel good by using substances instead of going within and being deriving contentment and happiness from within yourself first. You know what? It should be preached this way. Excuse me. It should be preached this way. Like, find contentment and happiness from within first, then go explore all the chemicals if you want. If you want to do those things. But we all know that the reason why the majority of people do them is for escapism. And it's to fit in. because most people are followers. They're following fucks. They're sheep. And they do it because they want to fit in. They smoke the cigarettes because they want to fit in or escape. It's pathetic. The mainstream is pathetic. All those things are pathetic. The glorification of those things is pathetic because it just produces followers that brand themselves as rogue and rebellious. And 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 uh, and that does make me uncool. I agree. It makes me uncool. It makes me unpopular. It makes me not fit in. It makes people judge me. They're calling me judgmental, but they're literally the ones that are the worst judgment. The most judgmental people are the people that, especially the regular drug users, the regular potheads, the regular drug users. Those are the most actual judgmental people, hiding behind the veil of being non-judgmental and just peace loving and stuff like that. But anyways, but it's almost like these people aren't real, right? It's almost like they're like how we talk about some things just aren't real. It's almost like I was looking at Theo Vaughn. I was like, he's meant to impress upon the people this cool 80s dude who, and that's his whole story too, how he used to do the drugs and now he's off the drugs. The backbone of his whole character or his whole brand is the fact that he's this comedian that used to be into drugs and now he's off of them and he's bettering himself and he's got a podcast now, right? So there again is the script, the I used to do drugs script. So I doubt Billy Strings will end up doing that because he's one of those people that can run with it, and just like Willie Nelson or Snoop Dogg, and he's going to be one of the people that can. He won't be the one that says, "Oh, I used to do all the drugs, but I've come off the drugs." He will implement that into his brand forever, and he will be that will be part of his whole brand. He's like the new Willie Nelson, you know what I'm saying? He's like the new. So he's gonna ride that I do drugs script, I smoke script, right? And because that's what's mainstream and what's popular. Even though the majority of people that smoke, the majority that have done it was to fit in, to be a sheep, and the majority of people do it for escapism, not because they're just happily enjoying life and they're just a smoker and I just enjoy my life and I just smoke because I'm just so happy. It's just an addition to my already centered, fulfilled life that I already have where I'm just content and happy. It's just an addition to it, a complement to my already self-actualized, content life, right? And and I talk the way I do about this and the people because they are the worst. They are the judgmental ones. They are the ones that judge. They are the ones that are judgmental, and they're weak and they're hiding behind their chemicals. Anyways, but it's almost like these people are fake. These people are just so fake. But those people have always hated me. They've always labeled me as inauthentic, uh, judgmental, and if you don't do the drugs like they do or smoke the stuff like they do, in the back of their mind, they've already labeled you as a snitch. Even if you don't plan on snitching on them, they've already categorized you as, oh, you're one of those people that's going to snitch on everybody, tell on everybody. And no, I don't give a fuck. I'm libertarian. I don't give a fuck what you do, right? I lean libertarian strongly. And anyways, got to get off of here. And so I think that's it. Thanks for listening.